Now, some guns are cool, sure, while others are just legendary. When Hollywood puts the right firearm in the hands of the right character, it can turn an already powerful weapon into an unforgettable icon. So in this video, we'll talk about 15 of the most famous guns in movie history. The ones that stole scenes, defined characters, and even influenced real-life firearm sales. Let's take a deep dive, see which guns shaped Hollywood's greatest action and adventure films. Number 15. Wildey Magnum. If you're into big bore pistols, chances are you've already heard of this powerhouse. Wildey J. Moore introduced it around 1980, aiming to give handgun hunters a reliable semi-auto that could handle serious cartridges. That led to the .475 Wildey Magnum, which modifies .284 Winchester brass to launch a hefty .475-inch bullet. With an adjustable gas system built right in, the pistol can be tuned for different loads and keep the recoil manageable. Most models weigh roughly 4 pounds with a 5-inch barrel, and you can get magazines holding 7 or 8 rounds. Its big break came in Death Wish 3 from 1985, where Charles Bronson's Paul Kersey wields his personal Wildey sporting a 10-inch barrel. Sales spiked whenever this movie re-aired. You'll also catch it in Natural Born Killers from 1994, reinforcing its reputation for power and style. Number 14. Chiappa Rhino. If you like futuristic sidearms, the Chiappa Rhino is one revolver that'll catch your eye. It fires from the bottom chamber of its cylinder instead of the top, which helps tame muzzle flip and felt recoil. Italian manufacturer Chiappa Firearms introduced it in 2010, drawing design influence from Emilio Gisoni's earlier Mateba auto revolver. You'll spot the Rhino in sci-fi and action flicks thanks to its sleek modern lines. Total Recall from 2012 gave Colin Farrell and Kate Beckinsale futuristic-looking rhinos, and Sarah Connor was toting one in Terminator Dark Fate from 2019, only adding to its cool factor. Number 13. Calico M100. You might have seen this wild-looking rifle in classic 80s sci-fi comedies and action flicks. Calico Light Weapon Systems introduced the M100 in 1985, primarily in .22 long rifle. What sets it apart is the top-mounted helical feed magazine, which can hold 50 or 100 rounds without bulking up its profile. That unique system, combined with its blowback action, gives you a high-capacity plinker that's surprisingly compact. Most variants come with a 16-inch barrel as well, and some models have a collapsible stock for easier handling. It popped up in Spaceballs from 1987, its quirky shape fitting perfectly with that parody's high-tech gags. The Running Man from 1984 also put the M100 on screen, adding to the rifle's reputation for futuristic looks. Number 12. AMT Hardballer Long Slide. If you're a fan of 1911 variants, you probably already know what the AMT Hardballer Long Slide is. Arcadia Machine & Tool produced stainless steel 1911s starting in 1977, and their long slide model features a 7-inch barrel for extended sight radius and a slightly more stable feel. Chambered in .45 ACP, it feeds from a single-stack 7-round mag. The name Hardballer comes from its compatibility with round-nose GI hardball ammo. Its claim to fame is that laser-sighted pistol in The Terminator from 1984. Arnold Schwarzenegger's T-800 character picks it up at a gun store, complete with an early laser that needed a bulky power pack. This AMT also makes a brief appearance in Predator 2 from 1990. Number 11. Winchester 1887 lever-action 12-gauge. You might remember this shotgun from that unforgettable flipcock scene in Terminator 2. John Browning designed the Winchester Model 1887 for Winchester repeating arms, and it debuted in 1887 as one of the first successful repeating shotguns. It fires either 10 or 12 gauge shells, stores them in a tubular magazine, and cycles via a lever action with a rolling block. The design might seem old school, but it was revolutionary at a time when folks were used to double-barrel scatterguns. Schwarzenegger's T-800 made it legendary by sawing down the barrel and spinning it to chamber a shell one-handed on a motorcycle. I bet that stunt felt as cool as it looked. Number 10. Auto 9. Now if you're a 70s kid, you're probably a RoboCop fan who can't forget about his long black pistol, the Auto 9. Underneath the futuristic shell, you'll find a Beretta 93R machine pistol, which Beretta introduced in the late 70s for military and police units needing a burst fire option. The 93R is chambered in 9mm and can fire 3-round bursts. It has a foregrip for stability, and it normally carries a 20-round mag. For RoboCop from 1987, the movie team customized a 93R by extending the barrel, adding a fancy compensator, and giving it a flashy muzzle effect that just screamed cyberpunk. Actor Peter Weller's half-man, half-machine law enforcer brandished it with authority. The Auto 9's distinctive look and over-the-top muzzle flashes made it just as iconic as the film's cyborg hero. Number 9. Smith & Wesson Model 29. You have definitely heard the question, do you feel lucky? That line comes from Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry from 1971, where the Smith & Wesson Model 29 became the embodiment of .44 Magnum power. This double-action revolver came out in 1955, built on S&W's large end-frame. It holds 6 rounds of .44 Magnum in its cylinder, and the company offered various barrel lengths. Harry Callahan's on-screen endorsement shot the Model 29 into pop culture stardom, and sales only soared. Fun fact, Dirty Harry claimed that this .44 Magnum was the most powerful handgun in the world, but that wasn't entirely true.
But Ian, this is a .44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off.
The .454 Castle, developed 12 years before the movie came out, packed far more punch. However, it wasn't commercially available in a production revolver until Freedom Arms released the Model 83 in 1983. So while Callahan's claim was valid for production handguns firing factory ammo, the reality was a bit more complicated. Speaking in raw power, the .454 Castle and even certain Colt 45 handloads had already eclipsed the .44 Magnum. Hollywood just didn't bother with the fine print. Number 8. M1921 and M1928 Thompson, aka the Tommy gun. We're all familiar with that iconic silhouette in every gangster montage, the Thompson submachine gun, often called the Tommy gun. General John T. Thompson designed it in the late 1910s for trench warfare, but it arrived too late for World War I. Chambered in .45 ACP, it fed from either box or drum magazines, and it featured a high rate of fire. The early M1921 model could climb up to 1,500 rounds per minute in prototypes. The Tommy gun scored notoriety during Prohibition, serving both lawmen and gangsters. Al Capone's crew used it, and so did the FBI. In films like The Untouchables from 1987 and Mobsters from 1991, it became the go-to hardware for roaring shootouts. Number 7. H&K P7. H&K fanatics swear by the P7. It uses a gas-delayed blowback system that vents gas to slow the slide, which helps reduce recoil. H&K launched it in 1979 after German police asked for a better sidearm. It's chambered in 9mm with either an 8-round single-stack magazine with the P7 or the 13-round double-stack magazine for the P7 M13, which debuted a few years later. Its signature feature is the squeeze-cocking lever on the grip. You need to squeeze it to cock the firing pin, which lets you carry a round in the chamber without worrying about accidental discharge. The P7 shows up as a villain's weapon in Die Hard from 1988, where Hans Gruber keeps a fancy nickel-plated version, and also in Under Siege from 1992, Tommy Lee Jones's character also uses one. It's kind of funny how Hollywood often hands this German police pistol to the bad guys. Number 6. H&K MP5. The Heckler & Koch MP5 is one of the most common SMGs seen in movies. It's a roller-delayed blowback submachine gun derived from the G3 rifle system. That lets it fire 9mm rounds smoothly and accurately. It can be loaded with 15 or 30 round mags, and it clocks around 800 rounds per minute. Die Hard from 1988 is where many folks first noticed it on the big screen. Bruce Willis's John McClane uses one, though those were often chopped up HK-94s in reality because of import restrictions. The MP5 proved so effective that numerous armed forces worldwide still rely on it, even though newer alternatives exist. It even made headlines during the 1980 Iranian embassy siege, which only boosted its reputation as the preferred SMG of elite operators. Now we're going to take a second to remind you to like, subscribe, and share the hell out of this video. Your views, likes, and subscriptions are the reason our team can bring you human-created content created for the weapon enthusiast, homesteader, prepper, and also just to the everyday guy wanting to get prepared. Without you, we couldn't do what we do. So to those people who have already subbed, and to those of you who are about to do just that, thank you. Number 5. Desert Eagle. The Desert Eagle is basically the poster child for a massive semi-auto handgun. Magnum Research and Israel Military Industries joined forces to produce it after Bernard White patented the gas-operated design in 1983. Now, unlike most pistols, it uses a rotating bolt gas system similar to a rifle, which lets it handle heavy-hitting cartridges like .357 Magnum, .44 Magnum, or .50 Action Express. Standard models usually have a 6-inch barrel, weigh over 4 pounds, and hold 7 to 9 rounds depending on the caliber. You just can't ignore its jaw-dropping appearance in The Matrix from 1999, where Agent Smith wields one, or Vinnie Jones's famous line, Desert Eagle, .50, from the 2000s movie Snatch. Needless to say, this absolute beast of a sidearm has shown up in hundreds of films. Number 4. Uzi. Israel's iconic submachine gun was born in the early 1950s, named after Major Uziel Gal. The Uzi used a telescoping bolt that fit around the barrel, letting the magazine seat inside the grip to shorten the overall length. It mostly fires 9mm at around 600 rounds per minute, with standard mags of 25 or 32 rounds. The Israeli Defense Forces introduced it for close quarters use, particularly for support troops and tank crews. In Hollywood, the Uzi became a staple of 1980s action. Schwarzenegger's cyborg in the 1984 movie The Terminator demands a Uzi 9mm at the gun shop, one of the film's famous lines. It also pops up in Lord of War from 2005, highlighting its global circulation. Some productions even modified other subguns to resemble Uzis if the real deal wasn't available. Number 3. Beretta 92 FS. Who doesn't know the Beretta 92 FS? It evolved from the Model 92 that launched in 1976, and Beretta refined it into the 92 FS in the 1980s. Chambered in 9mm, it operates on a short recoil delayed blowback system. It packs 15 rounds in a double-stack magazine and features the signature open-top slide that cuts down on ejection problems. Bruce Willis's John McClane brandishes it in Die Hard from 1988, even though it wasn't standard NYPD gear at the time. In The Boondock Saints 2 from 2009, the McManus brothers showcased the stainless 92 FS Enox for an extra dash of visual flair. Because this pistol became the US military's M9, it's no wonder filmmakers love using it as a reliable sidearm of choice. Number 2. Walther PPK. The Walther PPK is the gold standard in classic spy pistols. It's usually chambered in 32 ACP or 380 ACP with a 6 or 7 round mag, using blowback operation. It's known for a comfortable grip, straightforward controls, and an easy-to-conceal frame. James Bond switched to the Walther PPK, and Dr. No from 1962 made the pistol famous worldwide. Sean Connery's 007 made carrying a small caliber handgun look sophisticated, though some scenes actually featured a Walther PP due to prop availability. When you saw this secret agent brandishing this Walther, he made it look effortlessly cool. And while the Walther PPK became Bond's signature sidearm, it wasn't always his go-to. Roger Moore, for example, was known to mix things up. In Live and Let Die from 1973, he ditches the PPK in favor of the nickel-plated Smith & Wesson Model 29 .44 Magnum while rescuing Solitaire. In The Man with the Golden Gun from 1974, he briefly handles a Webley .38 revolver, and in Octopussy from 1983, he swaps the PPK for a Walther P5, Walther's newer model at the time. Pierce Bronson's Bond took the biggest departure from tradition when he upgraded to the Walther P99 in Tomorrow Never Dies from 1997, trading in the classic look for something more modern. The P99 stuck around through Die Another Day from 2002, but Daniel Craig's grittier take on Bond brought the PPK back in Casino Royale in 2006, and solidified its return in Quantum of Solace from 2008. Though Bond has wielded plenty of firepower over the years, The PPK remains the weapon most closely tied to 007's suave yet deadly image. It also popped up in other spy and action flicks like Inglourious Basterds from 2009 and Salt from 2010. Even decades later, moviegoers link the PPK to espionage and slick undercover work. Number 1. The Mauser C96, aka Broom Handle. The Mauser C96 is a legendary pistol that bridged real history and sci-fi. Introduced in 1896, it was one of the first widely successful semi-auto handguns. It's known for its distinct box magazine in the front of the trigger, a wooden holster stock combo, and its early chambering in 7.63 by 25mm Mauser. Now, some variants shifted to 9mm or bigger cartridges. Military officers, revolutionaries, and even Winston Churchill favored it because it offered solid range and good firepower for its time. It appeared in war movies like Lawrence of Arabia and Raiders of the Lost Ark, but its pop culture claim to fame came when George Lucas's prop team customized a C96 into Han Solo's DL-44 blaster for the original Star Wars in 1977. They slapped on a scope and some muzzle gizmos, giving a vintage pistol a full sci-fi makeover. The result? One of the most recognizable movie guns ever. So much so that the original prop sold for a world record $1,057,500 at Rock Island Auction on August 30th, 2022. And that's all the time we have for today. If your favorite movie gun didn't make the list, please tell us all about it by commenting down below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to give this video a like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell icon too, so you don't miss out on our next deep dive into Hollywood's most iconic gear. Thanks for watching, and as always, this is Threat to Survival. Prepare today, thrive tomorrow. Embrace the threat to survival.